Hello and welcome to the Capitol Report on NTD television. I'm Steve Lance. Breaking tonight, updates about the FBI raid on Trump's Florida estate. A security law group gave the judge a list of suggested candidates for the role of special master overseeing documents that were seized by the FBI. And none of them seem to like former President Trump. Trump wants a third party to review the documents taken during the raid on his Mar-a-Lago home. On Monday, a group called National Security Counselors sent a list of 4 recommended candidates for the role. According to an Epoch Times report, 3 of the 4 are known to have praised President Biden, and 1 does not like former President Trump. NTD reached out to Jim Burling at Pacific Legal Foundation for comment.
It's quite unusual. I haven't seen this before. There's nothing particularly wrong about it. You can file anything you want with a judge, and the judge can either pay attention to it or completely ignore it.
The group said it was bringing 4 uniquely qualified experts in the field to your attention for your consideration. Burling tells us
both sides can object to it, and they can also point out the fact that if one of the proposed judges has any bias, that's ground for disqualification under the federal code.
Meanwhile, the Justice Department asked the court to allow them to write a 40-page response rather than the usual 20. Trump needs to reply to the Justice Department by Wednesday night, and the judge has scheduled a hearing Thursday to decide if a special master is needed. President Biden trying to flip the script today on Defund the Police. This as we're now officially 10 weeks away from the midterms, and the president eyes a big primetime speech in just a few days. NTD's Iris Tao has more.
I'm opposed to defunding the police. I'm also opposed to defunding the FBI.
With 10 weeks until the midterms, President Biden traveled on Tuesday to the swing state of Pennsylvania, defending his record on crime and vowing to fund the police.
When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police.
And Biden's housed the recent passage of a gun control bill while continuing to press Congress to ban so-called assault weapons.
I'm determined to ban assault weapons in this country. Determined.
He's also urging Congress to spend around $37 billion on his Safer America plan, which includes hiring 100,000 new cops. Meanwhile, a poll this month shows an 11-point advantage for Republicans on the issue of crime, which was the worst issue for Democrats in the poll. And Biden taking the opportunity to attack the GOP, citing the fallout of the FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid.
And now it's sickening to see the new attacks on the FBI. For God's sake, whose side are you on?
The Tuesday remarks come after Biden earlier this week accused Trump-allied Republicans of semi-fascism, a message Republicans say directly contradicts Biden's own vow to restore unity. And the Republican National Committee blasted Biden's Tuesday trip, writing, quote, Biden Democrats want to release criminals on the streets and raise taxes, and that Pennsylvanians will be voting for a new direction in November. And in the upcoming days, Biden will make 2 more visits to the battleground state of Pennsylvania as his party fights to retain control of the Congress. On Thursday, Biden is expected to give a rare primetime speech on what the White House calls a battle for the soul of the nation. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Iris Tao, NTD News.
The Biden administration announced Monday it will provide about $11 million to support the production of the Jynneos smallpox vaccine. This is the vaccine currently being used against monkeypox in the ongoing outbreak. The vaccines are made by Denmark-based biotech group Bavarian Nordic. The company has agreed to complete the filing, labeling, packaging, and inspection at a manufacturing facility in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The Department of Health and Human Services announced the agreement. It said that the $11 million will allow the manufacturer in Michigan to purchase additional equipment necessary for Jynneos production and recruit and train additional staff to operate the line. Taiwan fired warning shots at a Chinese drone near the self-ruled island earlier today. Taiwan's president recently ordered the military to take, quote, strong countermeasures against Chinese provocations. Taiwan had been complaining about Chinese drones flying very close to a group of smaller islands near China's coast. But today was the first time Taiwan fired warning shots in response. The drone headed back toward the mainland, according to a military spokesperson. Communist China has increased military activity near Taiwan ever since Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the island earlier this month. The Chinese Communist Party is in the spotlight following their military action around Taiwan. One U.S. congressman is introducing a new bill aimed at holding bad actors like the CCP accountable. Congressman Tom Tiffany joins us now. Congressman Tom Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us.
It's good to join you today, Steve.
Congressman, you have a new piece of legislation called the Alien Criminal Expulsion Act, which is geared toward rogue regimes and governments, much like the Chinese Communist Party. If you could, tell us about the bill and why you wrote it.
Yeah, the ACE Act is in response to Speaker Pelosi's trip to Taiwan when China said that they're no longer going to accept their criminal aliens back. So this bill that we've introduced, the ACE Act, would halt the issuance of visas to people in those countries who are recalcitrant. And it's not just China, but other countries that want to treat America as their dumping ground for criminal aliens. We will no longer accept visas from their countries under the ACE Act.
So, Congressman, if you could just break it down a little bit further, when China stops cooperating with the U.S. In deportation efforts, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so what happened was Speaker Pelosi made her well-publicized trip to Taiwan, and in response to that, China announced a number of initiatives, I think there was 9 points to it, that said that we're going to retaliate in this way in regards to the trip to Taiwan. One of them saying we're no longer going to accept criminal aliens from China who are in the United States. They're no longer going to accept them back into China. And now I believe President Biden already has the authority to return those people and to stop any issuance of visas from China as a result of China's actions. But this would bolster it. This would put it in statute that says specifically, if you're a recalcitrant country, like communist China is right now, not accepting your criminal aliens back into your country from the United States, then we're going to stop the issuance of visas from your country.
You know, when you think about the Chinese Communist Party, they've not just all of a sudden become some type of criminal government. Heinous crimes have been part of their modus operandi since they took over China, whether it was killing the students on Tiananmen, various campaigns to kill their own citizens, most recently releasing the CCP virus and allowing it to spread around the world. All things considered, your legislation seems quite reasonable.
Yeah, we sure hope that this is going to get bipartisan support. I know we were one of the early adopters when I came into Congress to really try to strengthen Taiwan's hands as a one of those good democracies we have around the world. And you continue to see the communist Chinese with their saber rattling and trying to threaten Taiwan. I think this is a very important time for America to stand strong. It is no time for American weakness. That's why we're hoping this message gets to President Biden and the Biden administration, and they should begin to enforce the law that's already on the books. But if that's not going to happen, then I believe it's our duty is to follow through, just as Congress has always been there to defend Taiwan since 1979, when Jimmy Carter made the terrible decision to not recognize Taiwan as a country.
Congressman, why do you think we've seen such a reluctance by governments around the world, including the United States at times, to meaningfully hold the CCP accountable?
I think when all you have to do is look at corporate America, you just need to look at Nike, Apple, companies like that. And they so desperately want this marketplace in China that sometimes they will compromise their values. They'll compromise their principles. And that's what some countries are doing also. And some of them are being put in a very difficult spot, like Sri Lanka, which agreed to some money via the Belt and Road Initiative. Now they got to pay it back. They're in a really tough spot. And we keep emphasizing, don't get in bed with communist China if they're going to ultimately extract concessions from you, much like they're trying to do with the United States right now as a result of Speaker Pelosi's trip to Taiwan. America needs to stand strong, and we will prevail in the end, but America has to be strong, and the Biden administration has just shown weakness to the communist Chinese government at this point. It's not serving our interests.
Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany, thank you so much.
It's good to join you again, Steve.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.